Sounds good. Let's do it. Awesome. All right, we're going to call this meeting of the Freeman School Board to order. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next item on the agenda is roll call. Here.
Chloe Franson, Doug McCune.
Here.
Carissa.
Here.
No Cody.
All right, next item on the agenda will require a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Doug.
Second.
Second by Carissa. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is conflict of interest disclosures. I've received none.
None.
Next item on the agenda, public input.
There was one. I included in your packet the request to speak at open forum.
Perfect. So I'm going to, just because it's been a little while, remind everybody what the terms are for open forum. Up to 3 minutes will be allotted to each speaker. Timekeeping is the responsibility of the board president, so I'll keep time. Pursuant to the South Dakota Open Meetings Law, the school board will not discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on the agenda during the meeting, and the school board will not respond to speakers, only listen or ask questions for clarification. So you can ask questions, but otherwise, no comment. Scott, ready?
That's good. I type out what I'm going to say because that'll keep me within 3 minutes.
Okay.
The second page is I know you all have the budget, school budget memorized, but I went through the budget and just kind of pulled out some athletic stuff for reference. Members of the Freeman School Board, I typically write out what I want to say before I present to ensure I stay on topic and respect your time. I've given each of you a copy of the letter, reading along with simplified 22-23 budget, athletic budget from the school. I'm about to enter my third year as the soccer coach. Very grateful to all of you that I have the opportunity to coach your students. Every year during the season, we have a road trip or two, depending on playoffs to Rapid City. I've come to you tonight to discuss the cost of the trip and develop a plan now, so we're not trying to discuss this mid-season. I've been told that both Marion and Freeman have policies in place that only travel costs during the state events are covered by the schools. I'm here to ask you to reconsider that policy when it comes to the soccer program. I want to thank you for covering the cost of your athletes last year and want you to consider making that the precedent for the future. If you look at the budget for each of the sports that the Freeman currently supports, you'll see that no two sports are alike. There are different budgets set for the uniqueness of each sport. I'm asking you to add a small budget for next year to the soccer program. The cost of the trip to Rapid is between $40 and $50 per athlete for hotel rooms and another $50 for a few meals. The meals for the trip are usually lunch on Friday, dinner on Friday, lunch on the way home. Currently, with the students who have signed up for soccer next year, plus the returning players that didn't sign up, we have 13 from Freeman expected to join the team. We travel with 20 for varsity. We have 4 schools involved with the team, so I would imagine that Freeman would travel between 4 and 8 students. This would be a cost of between $400 and $800 per trip. A few facts to consider as you make the decision. One, soccer is the only sport that I know of that has regular season games West River every year. This makes travel expense unique to soccer. With the request on a high end of around $1,600, you'd still have 2 sports, wrestling and track, that have higher travel expenses than soccer. If the schools don't cover the cost of travel, starting spots will often be bought instead of earned. As the head coach, I'll have to ask players who can afford to travel, and this will create an opportunity for embarrassment to the players and a pay-to-play system that I hope to avoid in public school. Third, soccer is growing in our area. It's the fastest growing sport in the country, has been for many years. With the Little Kid League in Marion and Parker, we're seeing more and more young kids excited about the sport. I think with the right kind of support, this could be a sport we could be competitive in and do so in the very near future. Thank you for your time. Look forward to continuing to work with you.
Any questions from the board? Clarify?
Thank you.
We even have 30 seconds left.
Look at there.
I know. Well. All right. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. I'll require a motion to approve the following: the minutes of the regularly scheduled school board meeting of April 2023, the minutes of the Commonwealth Cooperative Board of Advisors meeting of April 19th, 2023, the resignation of Ivana Rodriguez, paraprofessional, and we thank her for her service, financial reports and claims. Do I have a motion? Motion by Carissa. Do I have a second? By Doug. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next time on the agenda, administrative report, starting with elementary principal.
The testing is finished at the elementary. The access testing is the English acquisition test that we give to our EL kids. We had 12 kids pass the access test out at the colonies. Quite a few of them were kindergarten and first graders, which is, that's a number we've never seen. Now, the bad thing about that is when they pass, then you don't get the state portion for them being EL, because that's what it's based on. So when you do a good job, then you hurt yourself financially. But classrooms, we will be getting our classrooms moved on the 17th. Growing Dreams will have, they said they'll have the one room that we need that they're currently occupying. So that's going to be our first room to move, and then we'll have a domino effect. So we should get all of our rooms moved while we still have the staff here on that snow day makeup. Shane Vetch, he's kind of supports our AR program, and he will be at our awards deal. We're still trying to figure out the date with the forecast for Friday. It looks like raining, but this past weekend was the same. He's been a pretty big supporter of our school down at the elementary. So rally day is on the 12th. Our rain day is the 15th. We're going to meet tomorrow to try to figure out what we're going to do if there's actually a rain day on Friday. We have AR pizza party on the 16th. We do breakfast pizza, so we don't mess with the school lunch program. And we have the kids do breakfast pizza in the lunchroom. And the students' last day is on the 16th, and that's a noon dismissal.
Thank you, Shane. Next item on the agenda, administrative report, high school principal.
All right, so we had a lot of things happening since last time. Nice job to our music department, the students and the directors on their production of the Junior Lion King musical, and for hosting the music contest last Friday. Congrats to all of our FFA members who attended state. Thank you to our advisor, Mrs. Penner. Ava Anderson took first in vet science, and Claire Hofer took third in, not vet science, I should say floriculture, sorry about that. The FFA banquet was held and new officers were elected, so we want to congratulate those new officers. And then Ava Anderson and I attended the Post-Acute Partners in Care Conference for the South Dakota Association of Healthcare Organizations in Sioux Falls. We were on a panel along with Freeman Regional and the Department of Labor, and we discussed our apprenticeship program and how that works as we partner with Freeman Regional. So that was kind of fun, and then basically kind of opening some doors for some other nursing homes maybe to start those programs in their schools as well. Congrats to our seniors. Their last day is tomorrow. They will graduate on Saturday. Emily, you'll be there on stage with us, and then if anybody else is planning to come, we just need 2 people to pass out programs. Usually that's 2 board members. I know Cody Franson said he would be there for sure, so whoever shows up, we'll just take some turns at the doors, if that makes sense.
Just arm wrestle later.
Yeah. You guys can
Decide.
Exactly. Smarter Balance testing is complete on our end of the building as well. We did offer ACT in-house on May 18th, and we had 10 students partake in that. A big thanks to Freeman Regional for hosting the Scrubs Camp here in the small gym. That was great. Wizard Relays, Don Didi Relays, we hosted both of those. That went great. So thanks to all who came and made that a success. That takes a lot of workers, and we appreciate that. We had U.S. Representative Dusty Johnson visit our American government class and then came into the lunchroom for a working lunch for our students. So thanks to Dusty Johnson and his team. And then happy Teacher Appreciation Week. That's this week. And we, Modern Woodman, donated some treats in the Teacher's Lounge for tomorrow. So we appreciate that as well. And then upcoming events, we have Awards Day tomorrow. Graduation is on Saturday, and our last day is on next Tuesday at noon.
All right, superintendent report.
A couple weeks ago, we had a need present itself to the district, and that was for some additional AEDs. We had a softball game, and the official reminded us that we're supposed to have an AED present on site, and that was something that had not been thought of, so something we need to remedy. Currently, we do have enough AEDs for this building. We have had an AED for any time there's a competition out at the stadium, but when we have that competition, we would take an AED from in the building and bring it out to the stadium, which puts us potentially in a bind if there were some officials that came back into the building or coaches and there was a need for that AED and it not being present. So what I'm looking into is trying to find ways that we can acquire 2 more AEDs, one for the stadium and then one that could be a portable AED that we bring out to the concession stand if we are on site for a home game. There is potential that we would have a track, like we did the other day, a track meet going on as well as a softball game, so we would be in the same pickle as we have been if we borrowed one of these from in the building to take out to the stadium or to the softball field. So I see the need being for 2 in the district. I've reached out to Freeman Regional and asked if they have any extra AEDs that are around, or if they'd be willing to donate some AEDs, and they're looking into that right now. And then I've also done some work and looked into what the cost would be should we have to purchase outright AEDs for the future. I'll also be looking to see if there's any grants that are available for us to try to secure some dollars for that purchase if it comes down to that. But what I've come up with is that it's $1,650 per AED. And then if you want to have the box that actually holds the AEDs, one that's been recommended to me is one that when you open, an alarm goes off so people know that there's an emergency that's happening, and it helps to alert people. If we decided to go with something like that, that's an additional $150 for the wall mount. I have reached out to another company to get a second quote to see where that quote compares, and I'll be keeping the board informed on what we come up with for that. We're in a nice spot right now with summer coming up here that we have a few months to work out a solution to this before we have a high need for having these AEDs in those areas. Library committee. So I was hopeful that we were going to would be able to have the first library committee meeting prior to this board meeting, so I can adjust and run the policy that will be up for the second reading tonight. Run that by that committee. And then bring any recommendations that they have. That wasn't quite able, just with the busyness of the end of the school year, we weren't able to get that organized, but we'll perform the second reading of that policy tonight, and then I will gather feedback from that committee prior to the June meeting and be able to bring any recommendations that they have for that policy to the board before the final approval of that policy. As Katie mentioned, graduation ceremony is Saturday at 2 o'clock. Next week, we have the Colony Field Days. That's a very fun day that Miss Sweeter and I will go out to the colonies, and both colonies will have field days. We have about an hour of activities, and then we have a lunch that we'll have with them out there. That's a very high energy day, and my legs are usually pretty tired by the end of that one. Last year was the first time that we took on that event, and the kids really loved it. So it's something that we wanted to make sure that we continued. And I would like to take a moment just to thank all of our staff, our teachers, our paraprofessionals, and any of our staff that is working with our students throughout the school day and teaching our students, because we're all teachers here. Thank them. We have a fantastic staff, and what a great time during Teacher Appreciation Week to show that appreciation for our staff. That's all I had.
Great, sounds good. Next item on the agenda, unfinished business. None. Next item on the agenda, new business. The school board will hear an update from the policy review committee and perform the second reading of the following policies: the library materials selection and adoption, the public complaints about the curriculum or instructional materials, public complaints about the curriculum or instructional materials, request for reconsideration of instructional materials.
Any questions on that policy?
Nope. Good.
No changes
I
since
read it.
last time.
Yeah, no changes since last time. Yep, I did read it. I thought it
One
was
state
good.
that Katie and Ms. Sweeter have both brought to my attention that they're exploring what an early graduation policy could look like. That might be something that if they decide to go that's important for us to go that route, that they will make recommendations. I did find a model policy on the ASBSD website that we can use to make Freeman, and when they have that information, that's something that would be an additional policy that I bring to the policy review committee.
Okay. Sounds good. Keep our eyes peeled for that. All right, next time on the agenda, the school board will review, or will allow, no, sorry, skipping ahead. The school board will review the safe return to in-person learning and continuity plan, which I know that I've already read, but anybody else have any?
I have all the red line items with the plan. Basically, my goal was to put together what our current practice is and make it up to date with current years and what we're currently doing. So that would be any of the changes that are any strike throughs or any additions to the plan. I did continue with the same process that we've used in the past. On that last page, you can see the group of individuals that review the plan. So we've done that in a distance type of platform, I guess you could call it, where I've given all those individuals a copy of the plan and then given them an opportunity to read it and provide feedback. There was no recommendations for any additional changes other than what was already redlined on the plan. So this is the last time that we have to perform the safe return to in-person learning, being that we've been safely back for many years now. It seems kind of odd that we have to continue to do that, but
I was curious about that.
from the
last year.
beginning, this is what the requirement was, that we have to review up through June of 2023. So this will be the last review that we have to perform.
Fantastic. All right, next time on the agenda, the school board will allow for public comment on the safe return to in-person learning and continuity plan. A little bit of a light audience. All right, next item on the agenda will require a motion to approve the safe return to in-person learning and continuity plan. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Doug, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Carissa, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is in regards to the purchase of the English language arts curriculum.
Yeah, so I've included the quotes that we received in your packets. So for the elementary portion of it, it's $82,491.93. For the high school portion, $12,588.70. And then for the Amira, and Shane would have to, I did not see that presentation, Shane would have to share what the Amira suite is about.
It's just an online component that the teachers were interested in.
$4,761 for that, so the grand.
And I only got a 1-year bid on that. They were trying to give me a 6-year bid. I didn't want to go 6 years until I knew that they were going to actually utilize
Right,
it.
yeah.
So
Be able
that
to check it
could
out.
be an added expense down the road if that's something they.
Truly find valuable.
Right.
Sure.
There's too many times you buy stuff and then you're like,
Doesn't really,
right.
right. No, that sounds good. Reasonable.
So the grand total for all three components will be $99,841.63.
Board, have any questions or comments from the board? If there are no comments, I will require a motion to approve the purchase of the English language arts curriculum. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Carissa, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Doug, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, the school board will hold a discussion regarding the 2023-2024 preliminary budget. Debbie?
Thanks.
Very preliminary right now.
Right. And remind me again, Debbie, I ask you this every year, but when do we review this again? July?
Yeah.
Okay.
In September.
In September, yeah. Great. Wonderful. Are there any other questions or comments regarding the preliminary budget? Okay. All right, then we'll move on. The school board will hear an update from the Facilities and Grounds Committee board members. Board member.
You can go ahead. I'll get on. So we have a couple of things coming up here in the very near future. At the end of next week, we'll have Broadsum Tree and Lawn. That's the same company, new name, that has been doing our treatments to our grounds. Will be here to, custodians reported that we had a few of those dandelions that are starting to pop up out there. So now's a good time to look at getting our grounds treated. We want to target the end of next week because then all students will be out of the building. Custodians also brought to my attention, there's a couple trees that have some browning that's happening on them. Could have been from a tough winter, could be that there's, some sort of fungus or infection or something that's out there that I asked him to, as he was going through our grounds, just to keep an eye up at the trees, and if he saw something alarming, to let me know. Lawns Unlimited has been here a few times so far this spring to make sure we get the irrigation around the hangar up and running and working properly. We had, unfortunately, one line that had a couple holes that were punctured into it out by the elementary wing, so they're fixing that. And then we've had some work performed on the football field. They overseeded that or reseeded that, and then been doing some other work out there to make sure those sprinklers are operational the way they should be. So I had quite a bit of that work going on. Randy Kerner has been here. We had the emergency repair that had to be done to the bus route. That's something we haven't talked about publicly yet, but we had the roof drain flows down by the daycare in that corner, and then it goes underneath the bus path. And one of the tiles right underneath the bus path was broken, so the water was escaping and eventually eroded the soil underneath the concrete. And then I'm suspecting that with the weight of the buses, it finally caved that concrete in, and we're very lucky that there wasn't any damage to anybody's vehicle or any injuries that happened, because that was a pretty good sized hole, and it was kind of a scary situation. But thankfully the daycare parents caught that right away and notified the daycare, and they notified me right away, and we got some cones put up out there. And then Randy was great. He was here after I learned about it, was here within an hour, and we were looking at it, and then the next day he was here to fix it. So I'm really appreciative of him for adjusting his schedule to make sure that got fixed. That was quite the emergency type of situation. Randy is working with Builder Supply Company. I've been working with Seth. We have some doors that aren't operating the way they should be. One out at the stadium and one in the building here for the elementary side doors entrance. We got some crash bars that are just really finicky. If we can get them, it takes 10 or 15 minutes to get them just to the right spot where we can get that crash bar held open so people can come in with that door unlocked. So Randy the plan is he's gonna pull those crash bars off, bring them into Builder Supply and have them look at it. Same thing with the stadium door. He had a spare handle that he was able to put on that stadium door, so that'll be a temporary fix for us. And then we have a door in our facility, inside door I should say, that goes from the auxiliary gym into the girls' locker room area that was damaged way back. This was before I was even in the Freeman district. We've communicated with them. They're looking into ordering a door, getting that stained, getting the window put in, getting the new hardware for that door and the strike, everything that's necessary for that door to be operational. So those are all some things that'll be coming up here probably throughout the summer months. I have not heard, I did not include this in my report, but I have not heard the exact date for when Randy's looking at coming in to do the walkway. Something that stems off to that I also didn't include in my report would be the bench, and I'll turn it over to Katie. Katie's got some information about the bench.
Yeah, the Salas family, the bench is done. It's like a 5-foot wooden bench, ready to be delivered. I talked to Greg today. Our plan for now is to put it underneath of that blooming tree that's right out here up front. We're just gonna put it there for now. If you guys feel like when you do that walkway, there's a way to put concrete there. If you don't, you guys can decide that. That's our plan for right now. So when that concrete comes in, we can adjust as necessary or however you feel like it needs to look there, so.
The final item I had, and I'll turn it over to Doug if he has anything to add on top of that. I contacted Pro Track and Tennis. Our track still has not been repaired. They had originally said that May 1st they would have it done by, so we at least got the second of our 2 track meets, have that repaired. And with a big one coming up here, we want to make sure that that's fixed and that we get those repairs done. So I've contacted them and said we need to have them here. We need to get that done, and He reached out to their production department and said they'd be in contact with me soon. So hopefully I talk to them and hopefully we get some good news that they're able to be on site and get that fixed.
Anything additional, Doug?
We'll be trying to get the joint sealants done in the parking lot this year. We approved that quote
Okay.
last year
Yeah,
and it got
yeah.
too late in the year. And so I know I've talked to Jamie Rexwinkle, from Rexwinkle Concrete, the guy that's gonna be doing it, Jake has as well, so trying to pin him down on schedule to get that done. Obviously, when that happens, we'll have to block off some areas because we don't want people driving through it right away until it's
Right.
a cure, which isn't very long. And then the only other thing I have is, on behalf of my two partners, and Neil and Kyle and everybody involved in the hangar, I just want to thank everybody for making us part of the project over here. Went well, thanks to Seth and Jake, and rooftop unit finally showed up and we got it in and we're 100% closed out now, so we appreciate the business and the opportunity to do that.
Great, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda, the school board will hold a discussion about the SDHSAA amendment and election ballots.
So in your packet, I've included the first packet that's in there would be the amendment number 1 and amendment number 2 with all the information that goes into that, and that is redlined for what the proposed additions to that amendment for amendment 1 are. And then the also changes to amendment 2 are also redlined and a couple strike throughs. So I believe when we're all said and done with, I think we have to do, I guess we could probably combine it in one motion.
And then the election ballots as well in there.
Yep, then the second sheet in your packet would be the official election ballot, so SDHSAA. Got Randy Hartman on the first one, and then you got a choice of 3 for the second ballot. You do not have to participate if we don't feel that it pertains to us. On the back page, there is the little short bio of the 3 candidates.
Anybody have any strong feelings?
I would pick, if we're gonna vote on candidates for the district or the Division 3 rep, Jeff Sheehan would be my choice. Just because he's got a longer history of representing smaller school district and
Yeah, I was looking at that, I was reading.
born and
through it as
raised,
well.
whole career in the state of South Dakota.
Right.
Can't go wrong with the PE guy.
Okay, I'm comfortable with that.
As far as the amendments goes, I do have some heartburn with number 2. I don't like the change in verbiage because I do not think it's fair to punish an athlete from one sport to the next, considering the poor quality of officiating. And why I say that is, I think this year it was pretty poor. And then considering what happened at the State B basketball tournament when they couldn't even get the score right, and I was there in person, there were 5 people at the scorer's table, and not once did an official ask the official book what the score was or who should have the possession. So I feel like it's a little bit of an overstep I completely agree with the suspension on that, but I think it's an overstep to punish an athlete from one sport to the next. Saying that if they're punished in one, it's the end of the season, and their next varsity contest in a completely different sport, they should serve their suspension. I think they can do better than that. Because there doesn't seem to be any recourse or rules when mistakes are made on one side when there is on the other.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I get, though, why, I mean, there needs to be consequences. So I understand that, but I see where you're coming from as well, time is, and I don't know if it'll be an actual deterrent. I don't know that it would help.
I don't think it's gonna cure the problem. I think it's just a different way to enforce it, but that's my 2 cents.
Okay. What are your thoughts, Carissa?
Is this like if you get caught drinking alcohol or this happens?
No,
something
these are
happens
an
in the game?
injection from a contest by team officials.
You had a problem in basketball and you never went out for track, you can't go out for track to,
You just have to skip the first.
so you can go out for the next sport just to.
Yeah, you
like,
just have to skip the next.
to use it up so you don't have to use it up in football type of thing.
That's what they're trying to. As an active member of the team, the student may not join a sport at the end of a season in order to serve the suspension. So you couldn't, say, 2 weeks of track left, I'm going to join now.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So that I
yeah.
can, because I know there's 3 meets left and that's whatever.
okay.
Yeah. Which that makes sense.
Yes, yes. So they want each board to like vote on these and send it back or what?
I mean, do we want to table it or when do we need to?
I think
May
the
30th.
May 31st for the amendment ballots. I'm not sure about the election ballot.
I'm fine with going either way.
May 31st.
I guess I'm fine with, I understand that the officiating isn't great, but I don't think that there's anything that we can do to control that, and this would be at least making sure that folks are held accountable for their actions.
And maybe next year the officiating can be great.
Yeah,
Always next year.
there's always next year, yeah, so optimistic. Okay,
Okay.
so. Fantastic. So everybody's on board with Jeff Sheehan of Hamlin High School and passing both changes to both amendment number 1 and amendment number 2.
For Randy? Okay with Randy too?
Yes, the only, only candidate for the other. Yep. Absolutely. Okay. Then I will require a motion to approve the selected candidates, Randy Hartman of Pierce School District and Jeff Sheehan of Hamlin High School, as well as the SDHSAA Amendment Number 1 and Amendment Number 2 changes and election ballots. Do I have a motion? So moved. Motion by Carissa. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Doug. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next on the agenda, executive session. We'll require a motion to enter executive session for the purpose of South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2, parentheses 1, and an executive session at 7:34 PM.
So moved.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Okay. Doug, Carissa, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries in executive session.
Hey, did you know if anyone turned in a cooler after that last